All right, everybody, welcome to the Beyond Barley Podcast. This is our first episode, and today we're going to be talking about the National Barley Yield Contest, which was an initiative that started here with an idea from Brett Wilkin of Schooler in combination with the Idaho Barley Commission. So last year we ran it as a pilot year in the state of Idaho, and this year we just finished up the pilot year as a national contest. So here with me, I have Brett Wilkin from Schooler. He is a sponsor and also my right-hand man in making this contest possible. So today we're also going to have two of our national winners join us today as well, and some words from our sponsor and things to be looking forward for this contest. So I guess we'll get started with you, Brett. How are you?
Well, I'm doing all right so far.
Well, I guess, can you start by introducing yourself and what you do for Schooler?
Okay, yeah, Brett Wilkin. I worked for Schooler for 8 years, kind of a long-term employee at General Mills and then Thresher in eastern Idaho and then Montana. And then I guess my background was, mostly grain origination, and then it went into the seed side of things. And then with Schooler, it kind of morphed from seed into I would say origination, and then kind of heading the Barley MVP program.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Well, okay, then to follow up on that, how did you get involved in the Barley Yield Contest?
So from that, I looked at barley as kind of one of those things that is, malt barley is kind of the premier crop. It's 90% or plus or over, for barley production in Idaho and likely the U.S. Corn's kind of taken over the feed side of things. And anyway, there were some newer genetics in it. And, winter barley was one of those newer things that I hadn't heard of much. And the yields were just, quite unbelievable, honestly. And so with that, and I'd say 200 bushel yields were kind of what, there's been some trials in Aberdeen and through the Idaho testing. And I guess from that, I wanted to kind of prove that those yields were sustainable at a commercial level or a farm level. So, in a way to do that would be through the yield contest or some way to promote, what kind of yields are we seeing? Because 200 bushel really changes the economics of production. So anyway, that's kind of where we started. And then, how do you prove that success, or how do you prove those kind of yields? So a barley yield contest seemed like a good way to promote the barley and actually verify those yields, because there's farmer talk, you hear the coffee shop talk, I got this or I got that, and I was looking for some way to verify that. And I'd had some work with the wheat yield contest earlier when I was with General Mills, so I guess I thought maybe that'd be a good conduit to use for the barley.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a great way to collect data, and without growers knowing, they're doing a lot of data collection and really research. And so we're able to pull a lot of information each year on how each grower is running their management practices. And so I guess the next question I should ask you, what gap or need in the barley industry is the National Barley Yield Contest aiming to address? So what's the gap? Where are we lacking in the barley industry that this contest is going to change or focus on that gap?
Well, like I say, I think economics, proving yields, that barley is a viable crop economically is a good way to boost that production up. Barley is a very sustainable crop. I guess, it's one of the token catchphrases you could say. And, it's a low water crop. And, like this year in particular, looks like it's going to be a very, it could be a tight water year. So I guess proving those economics and that barley is viable, I think is important. And anyway, and right now, I guess, the yield contest is one way to promote barley. So.
Absolutely. Hey, no barley, no beer. But it's not just for beer either, right? It's for feed and food and all those other good uses. So my next question is, what were some, and I know we probably share the same sentiment on this, but what were some of the early challenges in developing the National Barley Yield Contest?
Well, I guess, we tried not to reinvent the wheel. And, when we started, we kind of tailored it towards the wheat contest. So we looked at the rules for the wheat contest, and then we looked at the sorghum yield contest, and then we kind of, morphed it to try to make things work. And I have to say, one of the challenges up early was trying to get an independent third party to verify yields. So, there was a strict list of potential verifiers, and when a guy's out in the field, and then he calls and says, hey, I'd like to test this. How many people? How to do that and verify it with one of the people on the list was really a challenge.
Yeah, it's hard for a grower when they're saying like the field's ready to go and it's ready to go, and that might not work out, and everybody else is scheduled to be there to verify a field. So
yeah, and on top of that, farmers that we're working with, it's not like they have one spot that they say, here's where I'm going to do my yield contest. They have an entire farm, and it's like, okay, I'm harvesting, and it's like we get into a sweet spot. It's like, hey, I think this is a really nice spot. So it's kind of a spontaneous thing, and with that, it does have some challenges.
yeah, absolutely. So from your perspective, then, how does this how is this contest different from other yield contests? What makes it different?
I'm not sure that it really is any different. I think all the yield contests have a specific idea in mind, and that's they're trying to promote yield and try to promote good practices. Like the wheat yield, barley yields, it's all about innovation and trying to promote best practices. So, I don't know that it really is any different than any other ones. I think right now we're maybe a little more lenient, where we're asking for just you're on your honor system as far as verifying, your yields. We really haven't gone there. I've, done a lot of the verification and done healing as well. No, there's not really any really differences that I see. Still with the same basic idea, trying to improve good practices.
So then, I guess that segues into the next question: is why do yield contests matter? Like what would you tell a farmer who says, I'm too busy, I have too many things going on, but you see the potential? What would you tell them?
No, I think it's a learning experience, and the barley industry as a whole, or wheat industry as a whole, we all kind of share in that, I guess I've been part of some IP programs in the past with General Mills and Pendleton Flour Mills at that time, and farmers learn with varieties specific, or wheat or barley, they learn best practices, and if we can share that and we can all raise that production. Yield is basically an efficiency metric, is the way I look at it. If you can produce more widgets in a certain amount on an acre, or versus a processing place per hour, you're more efficient, right? So I think increased yields, more efficient, and makes the farmer actually more productive and more, yeah.
We're all chasing the higher yield, better efficiency, and all those other coin terms like regenerative agriculture, sustainability, and so. Well then, my final question is, what excites you the most about where this contest could go in the future?
Well, I know we've talked, and for me, I guess Idaho is really a sweet spot for barley production. And for me, I guess it'd be a huge, a world record kind of production. We've talked about, New Zealand, Europe, they have some incredible barley yields, and right now the current record is like 300 bushel an acre. And so far, we have just using common practices. I can't say anybody that I've worked with has done anything really different than other just standard practices.
Yeah.
And we've been, like this year in particular, winter barley, we had 255 bushel yields. And then, like I said, that's not doing anything special, not doing anything that's not, has a return per acre. And we had spring barley that was 235, 38. I'm not sure the exact record or the yield, but like I said, doing standard practices and having those kinds of yields, I would have to say that, we have something very special that's, in the world, right? When you compare it to the whole world, I think it's pretty unique and it's something to be very proud of.
Absolutely. Idaho's special when it comes to barley production, and it's great to be able to highlight that with all of our growers that enter this contest. So, is there anything that you'd like to add? That's all the questions that I have for you.
Well, no, I guess I'd just like to hope that we could get more participation, as far as from Idaho, so far it's been more of a Magic Valley thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to see more participation, like say Eastern Idaho, maybe some other states, there's some other great barley growing states, and, we all, like I said, learn, and hopefully we can, increase those yields and productivity and basically bottom line economics.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for doing this podcast here with us today to really promote the National Barley Yield Contest, and just also being such an asset in starting this contest and just really making it to where we are today. So I know the growers really appreciate you, our sponsors really appreciate you, and I appreciate all the help that you've given us. So
Well, thank you, Sydney.
thank you, Brett.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm fun.
Yeah.
Guys,
Joey, welcome to the Beyond Barley Podcast. You're making history right now. This is our first episode. So.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So I guess we'll start with introduce yourself. Let's see, where you farm, what type of barley you grow, anything about your operation.
So my name's Joey Wallace. Work for Driscoll Brothers, and I've been a part of our operation now for 25 years. Let's see, we raise feed barley and malt barley and protein barley for Schooler's protein plant.
Okay. And where are you guys farming at? What area?
In the Magic Valley, Jerome,
Okay.
north end of Jerome.
Very nice. All right. So I guess what we'll ask you first before I reveal your yield. What motivated you to enter the National Barley Yield Contest?
Oh, that's an easy one. The 2 words, Brett Wilkins.
He's really good at convincing everybody to participate, and his enthusiasm is really a match for this contest. But
He's a great guy, and he's helped along the way to create some excitement in this arena.
absolutely, he's done an amazing job. So I guess we can ask, what variety did you grow this year
Memento.
or last year? Memento, not memento.
Memento. We raised lots of different varieties, but
Okay.
Memento is the one that we entered the contest with.
Okay, does that historically yield higher for you?
It has.
It has. Okay. Would you like to tell them what your yield was?
No, you can go.
Oh, okay. Well, Joey is our National Barley Yield Contest winner in our irrigated winter division, and is also the Idaho State winner in that same division as well. So his yield was a whopping 256 bushels per acre. And so that, for reference, is 175% over the county average for barley, which is, we've never heard of this before. So can you tell us a little bit about what was going on when you were in there and just saw the numbers go up?
Well, it's always fun to go spend some time in the combine and find where the sweet spots are in the field. But the barley field looked great all year long, and so we were curious and wanted to go see what it could possibly do. And then it's trying to find where those really high yielding spots are in the field, so that we might be able to turn in a good wet entry.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious that you were a winner from that yield. But when you found out that you had won at the national level, what was your overall reaction?
Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know I was entering a national contest. I thought it was a state contest again, so that's exciting. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely some recognition, and you've got something over everybody else's head around that area, I would say.
Oh, I think that more people just need to do it so they can see what they can do.
Absolutely, I would agree with you. So, what would you say were the biggest factors that contributed to such a big success this last year?
Well, that's a great question. I really think that details are important. Planting date, variety, planting depth, fertilizer, fungicide, irrigation. the details that we as farmers have control over, but then we have to also rely on Mother Nature and
Our favorite lady.
yeah,
Yes.
some of those things that happen too. So we just have to do our part, and then hopefully everything comes together.
Hopefully you're on good terms with
Details.
Yeah, hopefully you're on good terms with Mother Nature. Well, we won't pry too much into your management practices because we got to keep you competitive, right? Was there anything, so you've entered this contest 2 years in a row. You've been successful both years. So in 2025, was there anything that you did differently or any risks that you took?
I would say we maybe paid a little more attention to some of those details. I don't know that there was necessarily a risk that we took,
Mhm.
but I think that one of the takeaways I might have gotten from 25 crop is sometimes we pay a lot of attention on how to improve the poorer parts of our field, and I think maybe we need to shift that and pay a little more attention of how we can improve the better parts of the field. So that might be something that was a takeaway for me.
Absolutely. So I guess
Because I never dreamt that we could have a yield that would come out of some of those areas like that. So,
and it was a good year to enter the contest too.
yeah.
So I guess to build on that, is there anything that really sticks out that you've learned through this contest process that you've taken back to your operation?
Well, I think have an open mind and try new things. I mean, we haven't always raised just memento. We've raised other varieties. We've raised 6-row varieties and 2-row varieties, and that have different characteristics and different. So I think it's trying new things and trying to stay innovative and pushing those yields to the capacity that who knows what they can be.
Absolutely, you really don't know until you try. So, and you've got probably one of the best cheerleaders, Mr. Brett Wilkin, out there cheering you on. So, would you encourage other growers to participate? And if so, why?
Oh, absolutely. I think we as farmers, as we can encourage each other to do the very best we can,
Mm-hmm.
I think we all will raise the bar a little higher. And if that takes a competition to make that happen, then so be it. But I think it's just natural within us to want to be better. So
Absolutely. I mean, you've got one of the biggest tasks of anybody in the world. You're trying to feed the world and doing that with the most efficiency, as increasing your yields every year, and also trying to key in sustainability. And it's a hard task, but to find competitiveness in that, I think, is a great way to look at it. So, has this experience changed how you think about yield and data collection or any of your management practices going forward?
the contest.
Yes.
Yeah, because we don't know what can the top be.
Yeah.
And so I think we just have to forge forward and keep putting one foot in front of the other and trying to find what the maximum can be. To be honest with you, I don't know what that is, because we've seen stuff I didn't think could be possible.
Yeah, it's incredible. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. Is there anything that you'd like to add or tell our audience about the National Barley Yield Contest?
Put an entry in, raise barley.
Yeah, no barley, no beer.
Yeah.
But no, I thank you so much for coming here and just sharing your experience and just also entering the contest. I mean, huge congratulations to you and the
Thank
entire Driscoll Brothers partnership. It's a huge accomplishment. And a huge
Yeah, it takes our whole operation to do this. It's not just me, so
Yeah. Well, thank you for being here.
thank you.
All right. Well, Dustin, thank you so much for coming on our podcast here. It's our first episode, so you're a part of Barley Yield Contest history and podcast history. So thank you.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Would you start with, I guess, introducing yourself, where you farm, and I guess what kind of barley that you grow as well?
My name's Dustin Miller. We farm in Jerome County, and I'm fifth generation farm operation with my dad and brother and now my nephews. We raise feed barley and malt barley, winter and spring. And we raise the Memento and Coors barley.
Okay, very nice. Well, I guess I won't keep the secret for very long, but Dustin is our national winner for the irrigated spring division and also the Idaho state winner with a yield of 239, which is very impressive. So for reference, that's 182% over the county average, so Jerome County. It's incredible. And a lot of people won't see those percentages or those numbers very often. So, and what variety were you growing?
That was Coors Molson 179 and Moravian 179 was the variety.
And you've been growing Moravian 179 for years now.
Yeah, the 169 and 179 both.
Okay, absolutely. So what, I feel like I know the answer to this, of course, but what motivated you to enter the National Barley Yield Contest?
The feed buyer that buys our feed barley, Brett Wilkin, that you know,
Yep.
he has always said if you see real big yields on the combine, let us know and we'll come out and do some verification. So about 3 years ago, we had a really good field, and I called him and told him to come out and bring his measuring wheel, and we measured off like 5 acres and checked it, and it was a really good yield, like around 200 bushel, which we were super impressed with at that time.
Absolutely. That's incredible. Well, and you've been entering this contest since the beginning, since the pilot program, right?
Yeah.
So when you found out that you won at the national level, what was your overall reaction?
Yeah, we were excited. We were proud that's, to bring that kind of a record to our valley or our, town.
Yeah.
And we were really excited.
Well, and I think historically, at least in the state of Idaho, that eastern Idaho has always been known for growing most of the barley in the state and a lot of malt barley. And so I think it's extremely special that we're seeing such high yields, whether it's malt or feed barley in the southern Idaho region. So good on you. Kudos for that. What do you think were your biggest factors that contributed to your success?
Getting in early, having a really good seed bed, a planter that puts everything in the same depth, and great emergence, and then just keeping on top of it all year from the time it's planted until the time it's ready to harvest.
Absolutely. So to build on that with your management practices, was there anything from when you entered the contest in 2024 to 2025, was there anything different or any risks that you took that paid off?
I don't know if I would say risks, but yeah, we just pay more attention to everything that's going on, and we don't farm any different when we put in for the contest. We don't really even pick which field we're going to do until we get the combines out there and going. So we farm every field pretty much the same, whether it's going in the contest or not. But this year we had a really good help with Mother Nature. We didn't have those 100-degree days when it was flowering, and we didn't have all the smoke from wildfires. Yeah. And so I think that that was one of the big helpers to push it up a little higher than we'd seen before.
Yeah, it was a great summer, and I think it just really helped out everyone, but especially you. So, what did you learn through the contest process that you've been taking into consideration for your operation?
To looking at the results from other people, the varieties are different. You can get big yield boosts just by switching to a different variety, or different fertilizer applications at different times of the year, and there's I'm not real sure what else to pinpoint.
Yeah. Well, then I guess. Would you encourage other growers to enter this contest? Was it easy for you? Like, what were your overall feelings, and what would you tell another grower about the contest?
Yeah, I'd recommend them to try it out. And it's easy. You just make a phone call, and Brett or somebody will put it in the contest, and you can measure out we all have GPS pretty much on our machines anymore, so we can all measure out a 5-acre spot, and
Yeah.
it's not hard at all.
Yeah, absolutely. So has this experience through the Barley Yield Contest, has this changed the way that you look or think about yield, data collection, or just your management practices in general?
Yeah, I think that the yield data is definitely beneficial. When we first started doing the contest a few years back, we would get our combine data, and we would see the really good spots from the really bad spots.
Yeah.
And since then, we've started doing more variable rate fertilizing and getting the low spots better, and not losing any money or on the high production spots in the field.
Yeah.
And over the past few years, a lot of our yield maps have become more even instead of good spots and bad spots.
Yeah.
So on a contest where you have to do 5 acres, you can't have very many bad spots in that plot, or your yield just drops real fast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to pinpoint. So, well, is there anything to add? I mean, you've got a huge achievement here. I mean, both years you've been extremely successful. When we did the pilot year in the state of Idaho, and then now nationally, I mean, you've just blown yields out of the water. So, is there anything that you'd like to add?
I just think the main thing to get those high yields and be sustainable and do it year after year is a good crop rotation.
Yeah.
And we apply compost, and like I said, the variable rate fertilizing. We have state-of-the-art planter, and we don't cut any corners, but I don't feel that we do anything over the top.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Dustin. Thank you for joining us. This has been pretty awesome to watch you these past couple of years, and just a big congratulations to you and everybody at your operation. This is a huge achievement. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Well, welcome, Richard. I appreciate you coming out and joining us for this podcast, the first ever Beyond Barley Podcast, and it's about the National Barley Yield Contest. And you've been such an enthusiastic sponsor, so I'm just really glad to have you here.
We're just glad to be here and help.
Yeah.
It's just fun to see these growers take the initiative to, one, get involved, and two, to see them go out there and try to bust records. I mean, yields are meant to be broken. That's the fun part.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we can start by, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, who you're employed with, and what your role is in the barley industry.
So, Richard Johnson with Lemken. We're a German equipment manufacturer, both tillage and seeding equipment. And basically got involved with this because of Brett Wilkin. It's over at Schooler. We had past working relationship when he was in eastern Idaho with Thresher, with the 200 bushel group there. And we just saw a lot of opportunity to work with them again and to help make things happen for the growers that want to see the ability to break records.
Yeah, absolutely. So what made your organization want to sponsor the National Barley Yield Contest? What was the incentive for you?
What made us want to get involved was actually the growers. A lot of those growers are Lemken customers, and they've seen the benefit of using our equipment to be able to help break records or get better yields. And so for us, it was just a natural thing to say, hey, we're here to support you. And for me, as a sales manager, my greatest joy is not just seeing the equipment go or making a sale.
Yeah.
The greatest joy for me is seeing these growers up their game to a whole new level, to where they can start to do things that they haven't been able to do before. And I think that's what's the best thing is we're kind of that partner with them to help them succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I could have said it better myself, so thank you. I guess speaking to all industry members, why is it important for industry partners to invest in a contest like this?
Thinking about that briefly, I think the biggest thing that industry needs to get involved is it shows our commitment to the customer beyond them being a customer. We're going to go in that journey with you. We're vested with you. We want to see you succeed. Yeah, if it's our product, great. If it's someone else's, that's still great. But you need the industry to help get on board because it helps to drive the momentum, and it also helps the guys to say, hey, yeah, I like these guys. They're partners with this. So anytime you partner, I think you raise the tide for everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all here for the growers at the end of the day.
100%.
We want to see them succeed, and even more so than I would say myself. I mean, they've got the hardest job in the world.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So from your perspective, what value does the contest bring to the growers in the barley industry?
I think the biggest thing with the contest is, first of all, it's you've got people that don't have an agenda trying to skew results. I mean, this is real world, okay? It's not the grower doing it. It's an outside source, so it's independent. But I think the biggest thing in the whole understanding of that is it helps to drive innovation. It helps to drive, hey, how can I get more? And, I think, Brett Wilkins kind of coined the phrase there, it's an economy of scale. And if I can get more yield out of that acre, they're still sustainable, they're still viable, but the biggest thing is the cost of production goes down, which means their margins are bigger, which makes them more of a sustainable grower long term.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does supporting growers through initiatives like this align with your company's goals or values?
We're always about, the whole spectrum of the growers, from being involved and engaged with equipment that helps build and the soil health and manage your residue and manage and creating a nice firm seed bed. That seed bed is your foundation, along with all the other things that, from fertilizer to herbicides, etc., and fungicides. But if your seed bed and your seeding depth and everything is not ideal, it's a foundation that's not sustainable. And so we're always about the customer. We're always about, managing those resources to get the most out of things, but not to the detriment of what the resources are. We're here to build and strengthen those.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking for the future, right? What excites you most about the future of the National Barley Yield Contest? Where do you see this contest developing?
It's been fun over the last few years to see, and I'll use Dustin as an example because his first year with the new Lemkin seeder, I think 3 or 4 years ago, that July I get a text from him, and it's a video showing the yield monitor saying, look, I've got yields that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's awesome,
Yeah.
And then he comes back and says, well, I'm going to break that next year. So you see that drive and the enthusiasm in that. But I think that's for everybody. I think, and, everybody does something a little different. Or they manage their farm maybe, to what they feel they're going to get the most out. But I think once you start to raise that tide, everybody starts to say, well, if he can do it, why can't I?
Yeah.
And I think the networking and bringing industry together, whether it's through the growers or in industry partners and such like that, and companies like Schooler that have a person like Brett Wilkin that's driving this to help make things happen, and then the Barley Commission, it just shows the opportunity that's there. And, this year to see Dustin hit 239 bushel on spring barley, to me was like, wow, that's more than 10% of what he did the year previous. And so, Mother Nature, I think this year helped us out a little bit. We didn't get any sucker punches from Mother Nature.
Thank God, I think we're getting a little tired of her sucker punches.
Yeah. And so with that being the case, it just shows what's really possible with good management, good decisions, and just, executing on that plan. And I think if growers can network a little more and, because everybody's always looking over the fence. What's going on here? How's this guy doing that? And then you get the coffee shop talk, and the guy says, yeah, well, look at how much bushel I got. And it goes, geez, man, well, I think I can beat that. So I think that sense of competition is healthy and good. But the other aspect of it is everybody needs to have something to pass on to your next generation. Look what my dad did. Look what my grandpa did. And so I think part of that is also a generational thing, is we always want that next generation to do better. We don't want them to have it easier. Still got to earn it.
Never.
You have to earn it, okay? But if they can see that and have something to strive for a goal and attain that, that's where the magic is. And us as a company, me personally, I just love to see the success of the growers, because that means if they're successful, we're all successful in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say it again. We're here for the growers. I don't think any of us would be here in the position if it wasn't for the growers. So, what would you say to other potential sponsors for getting involved in a program like this?
One is I think it's money well spent, okay? Mm-hmm. But it's also it's a reciprocating thing that shows the growers that, hey, these guys, they're willing to get in this with me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think it's just not good marketing dollars or advertising, but it helps to build a bond of trust, mm-hmm. and it helps to build a bond of, hey, I think those are the guys I want to do business with. And so I think that's the important thing is to developing those relationships, but also that bond of trust.
Okay, well then I guess to snowball on top of that, what would you tell growers about this contest? Why should they invest their time? Why should they make the phone call?
Looking at how you guys have structured things, it's simple. It's not disruptive to their harvest operation. It's easy. They make the phone call, they come out, they hurry, mark everything out, they record everything, document it, and you're done. And, I think it's simple, it's easy, and everybody ought to get on board. I mean, you never know what you're going to get until you try.
Right, absolutely. So then one final question for you, and we'll let you go. But what does raising the bar in barley production mean to you?
To me, it means that there's always a higher achievement to attain. Mm-hmm. Not a plateau, because once we hit a plateau, there's nothing that's going to change.
Yeah.
It's status quo. And so I think you're on a constant journey, constantly climbing to get to where you can get next. Mm-hmm. And by doing that with barley or even any other crop, it just shows that there's innovation, mm-hmm. there's opportunity, and from that, there's always records to be broken. So why not do it? Break the ceiling, keep going higher.
Absolutely, yeah, because why not? You don't know if you don't try.
Correct.
It's true. So, and I think with such great support system, like with you and your growers, Brent and his growers, I mean, why not? Why not see what you can do?
There's no limit.
There's no limit. The sky is the limit.
No, there is no limit. You just keep going. You got the atmosphere, stratosphere,
yeah.
You just keep going.
And then we don't even know what happens in space, so
nope.
Who knows? Well, thank you, Richard. I really appreciate you being here and being such an enthusiastic and involved sponsor in this contest, and I just can't wait to see where this partnership goes. So,
exactly. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.